Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to another Abomasnow video. So, picking up from where we left off yesterday, which was going over, a lot of the support sync pairs in the game. Today we're going to go over and rank the tech sync pairs for this update, right? So, as usual, tier list is very, very subjective. People are probably not going to agree with this 100%. I don't even agree with this 100%. I agree with like 75% of this, probably. Again, as usual, I did have other people help work on this, so it's not just, so I don't get clouded by my own judgment sometimes, right? So I could have other opinions chime in. And again, shout outs to the people who help work on this, like Runner, Prank, Spark, Lonely. Hoshi and all the other folks in the Discord, right? Which you could join in the link down below somewhere. I don't know. So yeah, this update very, very interesting because we did get the master mode, and master mode is probably like the hardest mode in the game at the moment, and probably like the most important one. So I do have to say, I do put a lot of more. I give more weight to units that do well in master mode, right? So like some interesting stuff like stuff like defense debuffs aren't that great in master mode, right? And then stuff like poison is really, really good in master mode, right? So there are obviously again some instances where like some units might not be as great in like some other modes, but are incredible in master mode, right? Which does give them a few more points. Obviously, we're not like completely basing this off of master because there are other, modes that are relevant, right? Legendary Arena, all the full spells, whatever, right? So, anyways, let's get into this then. So, starting with the first one, the star of this update, I guess. Well, I mean, N was also this update. I don't know, but Swamper's just better. But N was like the bigger, announcement, all that stuff, right? And also the seasonal sync pairs. Like May was just like a regular spotlight unit, but like it just somehow like outclasses like all the other like the Poke Fairs, the seasonal sync pairs. But yeah, May easily in the top tier, right? She's probably the best damage dealer in the game, right? Just fantastic, just very versatile damage dealing methods, right? Incredibly consistent, all that stuff. Like her Muddy Water hits as hard as like Charizard's Blast Burns, right? With like Sun boosted. So those are incredible, and obviously like her sync move is like the highest realistic sync move in the whole game. So incredible, and she's really, really bulky. She could take a lot of hits. She has refreshing rain, and she sets rain herself, right? With MP refresh on rain. And she's just incredible. I don't know what else to say. And her low speed gets completely fixed by like Racing Rain 4, right? So an absolute just monster of a unit, right? So she's definitely up there. Moving on, Meowstic. I'd probably say Meowstic isn't quite useful. I would move Meowstic up a bit more if like it was a bit better defensively. But Meowstic does some really, really great things. I think Meowstic is incredibly underrated. Meowstic is really, really fast. So like over 400 speed, has X speed, and has Pep Rally on top of that, right? Really, really great for fixing your team speed issues. Has Thunder Wave, obviously, Confuse Ray, or not Confuse, Psybeam with Aggravation, right? To confuse your opponents as well. Does solid damage, can heal, self-heal, right? So really, really great utility unit, right? Moving on to Masquerain. Masquerain probably put in the really good tier. Masquerain is fantastic, right? The special attack debuff really, really great for units like Alder, and just overall runs really great with Alder because you also get like the type skills as well with Alder, right? And then you have Trap, which Trap is really, really great in Master Mode, right? DOT just in general is really good in Master Mode. Has First Aid, could tank, really great, special defensive tank, which we really don't have as much in this game. There's like a lot of fantastic physical defense tank. There's just aren't that many special defensive tanks in comparison, and Viola does fit that role very, very well, right? Defensive buffs, gradual healing, all that stuff, and really, good speed wise too, right? As X speed, all that. Fantastic unit all around, right? Moving on to Togekiss, I'd probably put it in good tier. Togekiss, good sync nuke. You could run with like other strikers, right? If you run like Togekiss with blue, that's really nice. You get the extra flying type skill, all that stuff. And then solid damage overall. The only thing I don't like about Togekiss is Tri-Attack. Tri-Attack is kind of bad in this game because in this game you're usually, most of the time, you're using statuses to trigger some other offensive passive, right, which usually is very specific in terms of if you want like freeze, or if you want poison, if you want burn or paralysis or whatever, right? And Togekiss's 3 statuses are just random, and you can't rely on Togekiss to activate any of those passives. It's more self-serving, right? Togekiss isn't like that great of a team player in terms of its Tri-Attack, right? It's more for Togekiss herself to get a huge Sync Nuke, and which again, fantastic Sync Nuke, right? Moving on, Thornton's bruh. Thornton, analysis complete, could tank maybe a bit, right? And telekinesis is pretty nice, fun, niche thing that you could do. Crample's okay. The attack debuffs are cool, I guess. Do okay-ish damage. Oh, not okay-ish. Mediocre damage with like play rough, I guess. But nothing much else. Singzu Leaf is still up here, right? The potions are nice. Master Healer's nice, right? You got gradual heal, regular heal. AoE defense debuffs, AoE badly poison, right? Really, really good damage as well. I really don't see people talking about her damage enough. Her damage is actually insane. So Singzu Leaf, very, very good. Moving on, Aurora's, I'd probably put it in meh. As AoE flinch, it's kind of slow though, but otherwise it's cool, I guess. Little tech thing. Nanu, I don't know. I've been struggling between like quite useful and meh. I guess it could be quite useful. The -2 defense is really nice, but I think like minus defense overall just got a bit of a nerf. Because like with Master Mode, generally you want to clear it out a bit quicker, and you don't really have time to debuff their defenses, and there aren't really that many strike or damage heroes that really require a defense debuff to have any multipliers. Like the only one is like Insult to Injury with like Minina. There's like the big one. Outside of that, there really isn't much there. The flinch on bite is cool, I guess, but yeah, like most of the time, like if you just don't really need defensive debuffs in Master Mode. It's just much better to just ignore the defensive debuffs and just like pick the extra 100 points with the no status debuffs instead. It's just much more valuable, right? Moving on, Floatzel probably better than meh. Could do really solid damage, right? It can max out its crit, max out its physical attack. Has confusion with water pulse, can flinch with aggravation on waterfall. Solid unit overall. Milotic was the one that we struggled with a bit, right? Actually took like half an hour, more than half an hour to debate Milotic. Eventually settled in amazing. Milotic is amazing, right? The trap is really, really great, right? Plus it has Poke Drop on top of that. And Trap is really buffed in Master Mode. If you're running Salt Teams, it's fantastic. And then Recuperation is just broken. And then now with 6-star EX, you do a lot of damage on Milotic Sync Nuke, which is fantastic as well. And Brian damage isn't bad either, right? And then you have Endurance on top of that. Endurance plus Recuperation is a very deadly combo, right? That works out really well. And has healthy healing, first aid, sterner stuff, revenge. It's like you could use it as a lot. You could use it as a fantastic tank. You use it to deal good damage. You could use it as a trap staller, right? A lot of different uses for Milotic. Milotic definitely got a huge, and now that like May's in the game, right? Really great partner over here. Moving on, Crobat probably put it amazing as well. 100% chance to debuff special defense, which is always nice. Badly Poison is really, really great, again, especially in Master Mode. Speed solid, has evasion. Vendor Shot could do solid damage. Really, really good Sync Nuke, right? That's Crobat. Moving on, Cargonal's terrible. Endurance, cool, I guess. Maybe the Haze. You don't really use it that often, unfortunately. It's really niche. Moving on, Electrode. Electrode was one that I wanted to put in quite useful, but the other people talked me down. Here's what I really like about Electrode. Really, really fast. Incredibly fast. On top of having X speed, right? And then it has Eerie Impulse, which decreases special attack by 2. And it's honestly my preferred partner for Alder, even though Viola, obviously, much better tank, and much better unit overall, right? and gives, you know, bug type skill. Electrode is just faster. And I'm not even talking about like speed wise, just faster to set up, right? Like 3 Eerie Impulses, and then your opponent has like -6 special attack, and then your first sync move, you could just go for like a fully buffed Devastation sync nuke from Alder, right? And you just start, you know, having full overpowered hyper beams, which are really, really strong. Moving on, Palossand, I'd probably have been really good. Obviously, Flinch is really, really powerful in this game. Although I don't really like Flinch that much in Master Mode, just because after like the first round of attacks, the opponent's sides don't ever attack until either the center dies or the center's unable to attack, and you kind of don't really want them attacked because most of them just start spamming really powerful AoE attacks, and especially if you're picking up like parameters that like have the opponent you know, with higher attack, those AoE moves could hit pretty hard. So I don't think Flinch is that great in Mash Mode per se, but Flinch is obviously undeniably incredible in like Legendary Arena. And then on top of that, Palossand sets up Sandstorm with MP Refreshment Sandstorm, and it could also buff your team's attack and crit, and could redirect damage, and could heal in sand, and could heal on the trainer move, and buffs defense, and does a billion other things. Right? So Palossand really, really good. Delphox is easily in best, probably still the best unit in the game overall, right? Delphox is just like over, like, man, I don't even like using, like, I really don't like using Delphox because it's so boring. It just makes the game so boring. Like, AoE sleep just like obliterates like any stage, right? Like, it's just incredibly broken as a mechanic. I don't even know why they released this. What the heck? Like, at least give us some like wide awake stages so it makes Delphox like maybe sometimes not viable, but like they don't even give us like wide awake stages. Even with like less than sleep like 10, it's still like you're still lights out. You're still putting them, like chaining them to sleep, and you take 0 damage, and then they just get like completely just pummeled down. And then on top of that, Delphox fantastic damage healer as well, right? A top tier damage healer, right? And then now it also has trap as well. What the heck? Why is Delphox so good? Anyways, whatever. Moving on, we got Octillery. I put Octillery in good. Octillery got much better in this patch, in my opinion, because it has accuracy down, which is really, really nice if you pair it with Swampert, which also gives Octillery Rain, you know, boost in Octillery's damage as well. Right? Accuracy down obviously helps Swampert out a lot. Accuracy down helps Lilyby a lot, right? Lilyby, you know, helps Lilyby dodge better, right? All that stuff. And then it also has Burn, which is really good. Burn is good. And does solid damage on Scald, and really, really great Sync Nuke as well. So Octillery, I think, really, really great buff in this patch, right? Moving on, Vileplume. Vileplume, oh, I'm actually between putting it in, like, really good and good. In my notes I have it at good, but I actually kind of want to put it in really good right now. Vileplume is fantastic, right? You could do solid damage with Vileplume, but it also has like 3 move gauge refresh on Energy Ball, has on roll on, like a billion on rolls on like Energy Ball as well. Stun Spore, paralyze the opponent, which I think paralyze is incredibly underrated in this game. And then fantastic defenses, all that stuff. You could heal in Sun. You could run like Sun Grid with Vileplume. You could confuse your opponents as well. Vileplume just does like a lot of really, really great things. It's a fantastic utility unit, right? Moving on, Serena is a really weird one. I probably put it in here as well. As you can see, a pattern in the good tier. It's all these, you know, 3, you know, sync nukers. Which again, Mal is another sync nuker. I do think Mallow is probably the weakest of these 3, right? Even though like Mallow does the most damage on her sync nuke of these 3, but in terms of like everything else they do, like Togekiss has the extra chance to like flinch, Seabull could like burn and accuracy down, all that stuff, and does much, I think, more damage on the regular Scald as well. I think both of them too, right? I'm not sure about. Okay, I'm not sure about Togekiss. But the thing with Mallow is attack down's not really that big of a deal, and AoE confusion is just also not good as like say flinch or burn, unfortunately. I mean, the fact that its AoE is really, really good, and don't get me wrong, again, Mallow is really good, but she also has like a really bad issue of like team comps. Like Seabold and Togekiss, you could easily slot them into like a lot of like great teams where they're not like the focal point of the whole like offense, right? And you could, again, slot them in for like solid, offense as solid offensive, and Seabold also solid defensively, right? And also Togekiss could take a few hits as well, not too much though. But Serena, just, you kind of have to like work a team around her, right? And there just aren't like that many units that take advantage of confusion as well, right? In terms of like, as a passive damage buffer, right? So anyways, moving on, Victory Bell, it's been really good. I like, okay, Victory Bell, Agathos, they're both here, right? I don't like them. Like, I really don't like using sleep. But if I were being very biased here, I would move them down a lot. I wouldn't say a lot, but like at least one stage, right? But it's undeniable that sleep is incredibly overpowered in this game, and obviously they're two really, I wouldn't say they're great sleepers, but they're decent substitutions for like Serena, right? But I don't know, I think it's slightly overrated. But then again, the reality is sleep is just overpowered in this game, and I can't really do much about it, right? Anyways, moving on. I got Xatu. Xatu probably quite useful, right? Xatu got a huge buff from Bianca's, not that Bianca came out recently, from Bianca's Psychic Terrain, right? And really good defenses, Confuse Ray, if you could flinch as well. Really great utility unit that could also do solid damage, right? Moving on, Lycanroc. Lycanroc was another one that I think we disagreed a bit about. I think Lycanroc got slightly worse this patch because, again, like I mentioned before, defensive debuffs I don't think is that big of a deal anymore. Or not anymore. Like it's I don't think defensive debuffs are that great in Master Mode for one. And that's the big thing about Lycanroc. And Lycanroc's damage is solid still, right? It just takes a while to set up. It's not that great of a setup, honestly. And the other thing is, like, a Celllock, really great flinch, but, like, with there have been, and I'm not going to go over these until, like, we have, like, the exact stuff yet. So I'll do a video on it later when we have, like, the exact facts before me, because I don't want to misinform anyone. But Aggravation got buffed recently in the recent patch, and there are just better flinchers than Kukui now. What I really like about Kukui, however, is the fantastic speed, right? Really great, unit that you could fit onto like a lot of teams, right? Again, still really great. Defensive debuffs are still great in stuff like your Battle Villas, especially Battle Villa, right? Legendary Arenas, whatever, right? So full first battles. Moving on, Seviper. This was also a heavily debated one. A lot of people wanted it really good, and as much of a Lucy fan as I am, Lucy is like top 3 for me in terms of like Pokemon characters, right? I personally disagree. I think she should be 1 tier lower. Because she's fantastic in Master Mode. She could, like, Lucy could give you, like, a free 1.5k points. Like, she gives you literally just a free stage, right? You get a free clear with Lucy. She gives you both Badly Poison and Trap. Fantastic defenses, defensive buffs, gradual heal, right? However, she's just not really useful outside of Master Mode. Again, like I mentioned before, I do put a lot of weight into Master Mode, but I also do have to like consider that other modes exist as well. And she just doesn't do that great in any of the other modes. Again, if you think she should be higher, then I don't disagree either. But I just think I think this tier fits her a bit more, right? In line with stuff like, Lycanroc, Octillery, whatever. But she's obviously really good, right? Moving on, Torkoal probably put in this tier as well. Fantastic 1-gauge spammer, right? Fire type gets to take advantage of Sun. Great physical defense, right? Fantastic physical defensive tank. And then you got Will-O-Wisp with, the burn. Also, again, helps your whole team's physical defense as well. So, great unit. All right. Moving on, Musharna is another one that was highly contentious. But settled on putting in the highest tier. Because Musharna is just way too good. right? Fantastic defenses. The gradual heals. Give your whole team speed if you want. Pep rally. Incredible damage on stored power. It does a lot of things, right? And does them very, 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 very well, right? Also, obviously, Psychic Drain, which is kind of bearing the lead here. But Psychic Drain with MP Refresh, right? Yeah, Musharna is pretty incredible. Yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good. My only complaints about Musharna is speed's not the greatest, for one. And our Psychic type strikers overall, they're not all that great enough to really take full advantage of Psychic Drain. But then on the other hand, you could just like attack with Musharna. Like, who needs any other Psychic type damage healers when you have Musharna? I guess. But oh well. Anyways, Grimsley, man, Grimsley's. I feel bad for Grimsley. Grimsley's probably a med here. Solid evasion tank. But the thing is, why would you use Grimsley as tank when you could just use like any other better tanks, right? Snatch, all that stuff still has like some niche uses, I guess. It could do okay-ish damage. But overall, I don't think it's that great. Moving on. Gladion. Gladion probably in quite useful, right? Solid, unit that could cover all types, right? It's good in Master Mode because Master Mode there's only like one line of opponents, and you don't have to like there's no like two different types, right? Which was one of the biggest weaknesses of Gladion before, because after you change your type, you can't change it again. And if you're not super effective, Gladion's damage is like atrocious, right? But in Master Mode, they're all one type, so it's really nice there, right? Moving on, Brock. Severely underrated unit in my opinion. Master Healer 2, Potion MP Refresh, fantastic physical tank, right? Has Defense Crush on a 1-gauge spam. Could do okay-ish damage, right? Moving on, Rapidash. Probably putting it in good. I mean, obviously as like a unit itself, it's nowhere as good as any of these. But like Sun teams are really good, right? I don't know if you guys noticed, but Sun teams are really, really good. It's like a free 1.5 times multiplier to all the like fire type moves. Like, what the heck, right? And if you have like any like extra like charging sun or whatever, that's even more. Right? Activates a lot of passives, and I think Rapidash itself got a bit of a buff with Master Mode because Rapidash can trap your opponents, which is really nice in Master Mode, right? You can also burn, which is also really nice in Master Mode. The one thing I don't like about about Rapidash is his training move. The training move is like 2 RNG, right? Like in comparison to like Winona, which is also here by the way. Like, why can't like Rapidash just not have like random stat buffs and just like straight up just buff your like speed and like defense, one of your defenses, right? It's really annoying. But yeah, Pelipper's also here because Rain. Obviously has flinch. And Pelipper has a much better training move than Rapidash, right? Which yeah is, or at least much more reliable, I guess, right? Yeah, solid unit overall. Racing Rain too, right? Mimikyu, Mimikyu, man, I love Mimikyu. Mimikyu is not that great, unfortunately. Especially with Master Mode. Master Mode is terrible for Mimikyu. Defense debuffs, again, are just not that great and in Master Mode. And like that's a big thing about Mimikyu is defensive debuffs, right? Confusion, also not the best volatile status condition either. Unfortunately, damage is okay, right? But the MPRs on like her moves are so bad. They're all like MPR 2s, if I remember correctly, or something like really low, right? Let's see. Yeah, MPR 2 Shadow Sneak. Yeah, I really wish it was like slightly better, but no, it's not, and that's unfortunate. Anyways. Moving on. We got. Oh wait, I forgot the ranker. Let's see. Probably Gladiant here. All right, Gladiant here. Moving on. Let's see. Who's next? Seismitoad. Seismitoad's. I've turned around a bit on Seismitoad. I do think it's not as bad as I initially thought. Solid defenses. Speed debuff is nice. Could do some decent damage. Although, I still don't think it's that great. There's better speed debuffers, better ground damage dealers, right? Anyways, moving on. Abomasnow. Brought here. It gives you hail, but like the unit is just so bad. And plus, there just aren't as many units that, or as many great units that use like hail than there are like sun and rain. Outside of obviously Ice Steven, which is huge. But then Ice Steven sets up hail himself, doesn't need Abomasnow, right? Moving on, Wheezing. Probably quite useful, right? It's really regular poison. I really wish Weezing had like badly poison instead, but it's one of the most consistent poisoners, that's for sure, right? You got 100% on that one. Great defenses, heal, all that stuff. It's really great for master mode if it weren't like outclassed by like other poisoners, unfortunately. Moving on, Mew. This was one of great contention. This took us like probably like half an hour to debate. But eventually it ended up in amazing. Great sync nuker, obviously. Good tank. With X speed, the speed's not that bad, right? Has different type coverages. And now with Psychic Terrain, it, again, really, really great there, right? Yeah, I don't know what else to say about Mew. Debuffer as well, right? Got evasion, all that stuff. It does a lot of things. My thing against it is, a lot of the things that it does, like it does it well, but it's not like there's just better units that do them. Except for like Psychic Nuking, I think Mew is definitely the best one there. But outside of that, like a lot of things, there's just better units that do them. But then again, Mew does do a lot of them, right? Moving on, Gyarados probably put in quite useful. Again, the thing with like stat debuffs, sometimes you don't want to take them, but if you are toxic stalling, you could definitely run Janine, right? You could run her. You don't have to pick up the no stat debuff stuff because you have enough points to pick up like all the other defensive nodes, the HP nodes, all that stuff, and then that obviously helps your toxic stall team a lot because you decrease their opponent's attacks and they don't do as much damage, and decrease the speed too as well, right? So you have more time healing for gradual healing or whatever, right? So solid unit. Heliolisk, huge buff this patch, right? With Swampert helped Heliolisk so much. Heliolisk, obviously great accuracy debuffer. Could run in all kinds of weather teams, right? Parabolic charge heals a lot. Decent sync move damage, AoE speed debuff, right? Just fantastic unit overall. Volkner I put in amazing as well. Volkner is broken at the moment, hopefully gets fixed soon. But good, sync nuker, electric terrain's fantastic. Great tank as well in electric terrain. Can heal all that stuff. All charge does some solid damage, although I don't recommend it. But great unit overall, right? Takenomaru, I don't know. Do I want to move it even lower? I mean, it has Paraflinch, which is cool, but like the para is like 3 gauges, and it's, I don't know, it's not as efficient, right? Lycian Tire is busted, especially in Master Mode. It's incredibly busted in Master Mode. Like Lycian Tire, you could just like pick up like all the shields. Like you pick up like crit shield for free. That's 150 points, and then you just defog it away immediately, and boom, that's just like literally free points, right? Altaria. Yeah, fantastic damage dealer as well, right? Both dragon and fairy type coverage, all that stuff. Fantastic tank. Just, yeah, great unit. Lapras, not that great. I don't even know. Lapras, I didn't even move it lower a bit. There's better freezers in this game. Just use them instead. Milk tanks, okay, I guess. Milk tanks are pretty. Did you guys know that Milk tank is actually like pretty fast? Milk tanks are pretty fast. And it has like decent like offensive stats. But what the heck, right? Like almost 300 speed with like X speed as well. Everything else I don't really care though. Defense buff is nice. Like these are all nice, but like more chance to paralyze, more chance to flinch. right? Not the biggest deal in the world. Moving on, Hariyama is okay, I guess. As Potion, Brick Break, all that stuff. I think Rock Smash too. Decent bulk. Aegis Slash was really, really great in the Steel Prestige event. Not so much elsewhere. King Shield has some niche uses. Downside of King Shield kind of sucks too, unfortunately. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one, I guess. Again, like I mentioned before, people are probably not gonna agree with this 100%. Again, I don't even agree with this 100%. And especially like tech units, I don't even like making tier lists for tech units. Like, they all do different things. Well, not all of them, but like a lot of them, like 90% of them do different things. It's just look at the situation, what you want, what you need to use there, and then use that pair, right? I mean, it's really like, as good as say like Luxray is completely useless if you're not running like, if you're not fighting something that's electric weak, and if you're fighting something that has really, really high physical damage. It's much better running Brock, right? Does that? I think Luxray is the better unit, but again, I'm just trying to make a point. That was a really bad way of making this point, but they're all situational, right? I wouldn't say all situational. Like May, you could throw it in anywhere, right? Do a billion damage. Venusaur, throw it anywhere, heal a really good rate, but most of them, they're situational. Depends on the situation. In some situations, they could be really, really great. In some situations, they're mostly don't really do much, right? So anyways, that's for this one. I guess I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me guys think in the comments down below. Like and enjoy this video. So our channel for some more Abomasnow content. I'll see you guys